Okay, so how's it going today? My name's Ian, and I'm going to be discussing the overuse and the misuse of antibiotics and how this overuse and misuse is leading to the rise of superbugs and eventually is going to bring us into a post-antibiotic world. So first of all, I'm going to talk about what antibiotics are. Now, antibiotics are life-saving medicines that are actually made from minute amount of real bacteria. So basically, you have a bacteria that gives you an infection, makes you sick. What scientists and doctors will do is they will take a very, very small amount of that bacteria and they will genetically modify it so that it can be used to treat basically itself. Now, I have experience with this overuse and misuse of antibiotics issue. And in the summer of 2015, I worked on a campaign to stop the overuse with an organization, a nonprofit organization called US PIRG. PIRG is an acronym for Public Interest Research Group. So our campaign mainly focused on advocating for what antibiotics are and what the misuse is, where it comes from. It comes from consumers like you and me when people like us go to the doctor and we are sick and we ask for antibiotics. But the bad part is a lot of times people will ask for antibiotics because they think antibiotics are one cure-all kind of medicine, and they aren't. And when they are prescribed for reasons other than what they're meant to treat, first of all, they don't treat whatever they're trying to treat. And second of all, you're just going to build up a resistance for that antibiotic in your body. Another really bad cause of this overuse of antibiotics is the overuse on farms. So a lot of times, well, actually, it's a very, very common practice, especially here in the United States and all over the world, that on large-scale farming operations to use non-therapeutic use of antibiotics. And now, this non-therapeutic use of antibiotics is basically when farmers and companies will come in and they say, okay, we have 1,000 head of cattle, and we need to keep this population healthy. Now, it's hard when you have a lot of animals, especially animals that are being used for consumption, because they're not kept in very sanitary conditions, and they're not looked after well. Because honestly, I mean, they're grown just to be eaten, killed and eaten. So they don't get to receive the medical attention that pets do and stuff like that. So they're not as healthy as animals. So what they do is they'll take large things of antibiotic and they will basically put it in the food, in the water, and they will try to treat the entire population of animals. And now what this will do is it may make the population healthier. It may decrease disease, decrease sickness, and keep the animals healthy, like I said. But what it will do is it will leave trace amounts of this antibiotic in the meats of the animals. So when people like you and me go to the store and we buy these meats and we consume them, we then ingest small pieces of the antibiotics, but eventually this will add up and it can lead to resistances. So I have a statistic here that 80% of all antibiotics sold in the U.S. are sold for livestock reasons, so you can see the scope of this problem. It's huge. So my organization, PIRG, when I was working for them, we were trying to combat this by advocating for congressmen and senators to put in place laws to stop this non-therapeutic use of antibiotics. So now I'm going to go on to my final point, and my final point is just going to reiterate on the fact that I talked about how consumers, people like you and me, when we go to the doctors and we ask for antibiotics that we don't need, creates another problem. So when I take an antibiotic, say I have a common cold. Now, the common cold is not treatable by antibiotics. The antibiotics are used to treat bacterial infections. So when I have this common cold and I take the antibiotics, or when a small child has a common cold, and this is a very point of ethics that kind of gets all grimy, but moms will advocate. They say, oh, I need antibiotics for my kid. My kid is sick. And now the doctor may, be inclined to just give the mother antibiotics because the kid will get better because it's a common cold, and the mother will be happy, so she'll stay as their patient. So it's a really, really bad problem. It comes down to ethics. It's another thing that needs to be addressed. So all in all, I believe that this abuse needs to be curbed, and you have to support organizations like PIRG, like the CDC, like the WHO, or the World Health Organization, and supporting efforts to stop this, because it's a detriment to our health, and eventually, if the antibiotics don't work, we're going to have to find a new way to treat these illnesses, and that's going to be very tricky.